And so welcome to the Paul Clark podcast. This is it. We are now in the final few days, the final few hours of the 2016 presidential election. Will it be President Trump? Let's hope, keep your fingers crossed. Or will it be, God forbid, the nightmare scenario of President Clinton? We will know on Tuesday. In fact, actually, it'll be Wednesday, our time. Wednesday, UK time. Because I think there's like a 24-hour time difference between the UK and the United States. So it's Tuesday, American time. But because of the time difference, it will be Wednesday, UK time. I think it'll be early hours of Wednesday morning when we will know the result of the 2016 presidential election. I'm pulling an all-nighter. I may even try and do a live podcast as it's all kicking off. I tried doing that last night, by the way. Doing a live podcast, and I know some of you might have heard it. I know my friend did, and he asked me today. He said, he said to me, he goes, "What happened? You know, your podcast just cut off." It didn't just cut off, mate. I ceased the broadcast because I didn't really know what to say, to be completely honest with you. I had no idea how to express myself. I didn't know how to express what I was seeing because it was quite scary, really. It did shake me up good and proper, really, because I was watching Right Side Broadcasting's live stream of the Reno, Nevada rally, and everything was going as it normally goes at a Trump rally. He was making his speech, the audience was cheering, everything seemed to be going swimmingly. Then all of a sudden, there was this commotion. Now, occasionally at these Trump rallies, you get a protester there, usually someone who's being paid by the Hillary Clinton campaign to basically infiltrate the audience and then wear a Hillary Clinton t-shirt or something and just basically get a bit of publicity, really. I mean, the only time that the cameras turn and show the crowd, other than Right Side Broadcasting, who show the crowd all the time, but the only time the mainstream media, like CNN and the BBC and MSNBC, actually ever show the crowds is when there's a protester in the audience. The rest of the time, they're just fixated on Donald Trump's face, which is fine. You know, I've got no problem. You know, I don't mind looking at Donald Trump. Ooh, misses. Not like that. But it's always nice to gauge the atmosphere there. To see how big the turnout is at these Trump rallies. And they're huge. The crowds are absolutely huge. And Right Side Broadcasting, they show the crowds. Just the other day, in Florida, I think the venue that they were at in Florida, that's the highest turnout that venue has ever had. And that venue's put on rock concerts. That venue has held celebrity events. But apparently, the rally of Donald Trump in Florida, for the venue that they were at, was the biggest turnout of a crowd that they'd ever had. Now, Hillary Clinton, on the other hand, she doesn't get anybody turning up at her rallies. I think the other day, she had about 30 people turn up. And Tim Kaine, who is her running mate, her vice president, like Mike Pence is the vice president for Donald Trump, Tim Kaine is the vice president for Hillary Clinton. He only had about 5 people turn up for his rally. Ridiculous, you know. And just judging on that, I mean, I don't want to get too cocky here because, you know, anything can happen, you know, at the last moment. But if I was to judge it on rallies, and I was to judge it on the turnout, I would say Donald Trump is going to win fair and square, hands down. But I don't want to get cocky. I don't want to get complacent. We'll have to wait and see. We will have to wait and see. Not long. As I said, not long now. But I'm watching this whole thing unfold through Right Side Broadcasting. I'm watching the Reno event where an attempt was made upon Donald Trump's life, and it shook me up, to be completely honest with you, because I'd never seen anything like that, really. Now, we didn't actually see anything. We didn't see the use of a firearm. We didn't hear any gunshots. But when, one minute Donald Trump is there, making his speech, delivering it with the same flair and bravado that he does at every single rally, and I've watched every single rally over the last year pretty much that I can of Mr. Trump's, and it's kind of repetitive, but it's the same thing over and over again, but it never ceases to be amusing. And one of the things I love about US politics is it is all show, it is all razzle-dazzle. It can be very entertaining, to be completely honest with you. Our politics is positively stale and boring in comparison to the American politics. But Donald Trump wasn't saying anything new. It was just your bog standard rally. But then all of a sudden, he's ushered off stage, and the crowd, there's all this commotion going on, and people are running, and it was quite jolting, to be completely honest with you. Just sitting here in the comfort of my own home, sitting in my bedroom, watching this unfold. Yeah, it was dramatic, and it was quite tense because no one entirely knew what had happened. Was it a terrorist attack? Who knows? Now, I saw what some of the mainstream media have been saying today, particularly the BBC. The footage that they've been using, by the way, just so you know, has been lifted from Right Side Broadcasting. The BBC have lifted the footage of Donald Trump being ushered off stage from rightsidebroadcasting.com. That's where they got that from. So I think a bit of credit where credit's due, BBC. Maybe give RSBN a plug. Oh, but why would you do that? Because they're a pro-Donald Trump website. Why on earth would you do that? Of course you wouldn't. But it was, as I say, quite jolting. Excuse me. But it just shows the intensity of this election. Now, assassination attempts have been made, and some have been successful in US politics. The most famous one, of course, is John F. Kennedy. There's been other examples. George Wallace, who ran back in the 1960s, 1970s, I think it was. He was at a rally when he was shot, and he spent the rest of his life in a wheelchair. This is democracy, is it? This is democracy. This is the liberal cause for you folks. This is the liberal cause. You don't like someone. You don't like George Wallace. You don't like Donald Trump. So we'll have them shot. Now, I'm not going to go all conspiratorial on your ass here. I'm not going to start sounding like Alex Jones on Infowars.com. And I don't believe in conspiracies. I'm not one of those people that believes that 9/11 was an inside job or JFK was shot by the FBI. I don't believe that. I believe both those cases are what they are. But last night, I don't know, you have to think, don't you, that was it a setup by Hillary Clinton? Was this man employed by the Democratic Party? Because we know in the last 24 hours that, do you remember these women who claimed they were assaulted by Donald Trump? The vast majority of them have come out now and said, look, actually, no, he didn't. He didn't touch us. One of them even turned around and said, I never met him. But she was being paid. She was being paid by Hillary Clinton and the Democratic Party, by the Hillary Clinton campaign. She was being paid a fortune to make up these lies. Anything to derail the Trump campaign. Now, last Friday, it was announced that the FBI is reopening the investigation into Hillary Clinton and the emails. And that became headline news. Even the BBC and CNN, who love Hillary Clinton and think she's like Snow White, even they were forced to report on it. And that story ran for pretty much right up until last night, really. That was the main story, and the poll numbers for Hillary Clinton have been declining ever since, and Donald Trump's have been rising. So last night, you had this assassination attempt made on Donald Trump's life. That has now knocked out all the stories about Hillary Clinton and the emails and the FBI investigation, and now they're all focused on Donald Trump. Assassination attempt made on Donald Trump's life. By the way, to all these idiots on social media, some of which I know are friends of mine or were friends of mine because I've actually since blocked them, that put up on Facebook, oh, what a shame the guy missed. Just fuck off, yeah? Just fuck off. You're an idiot. You're an absolute idiot. Because you might not like Donald Trump and his views, but he has a right to express them. Just like Charlie Hebdo. You might not like the way they satired the Prophet Muhammad, but that's free expression. And I like to consider myself a sort of an artist, myself, in my own little way. And I love the fact that I have this podcast, that I have the freedom to say and do what I like. And I will express myself how I want to. And if you don't like it, that is perfectly fine. You have the right to message me and reply to me. If you want to, you can even do your own podcast in response to my podcast. But you wouldn't try and shoot me, would you? Would you? Because I hold a controversial point of view that maybe you don't like? But all these people, all these liberals, and trust me, I'd love to name them. I would love to name them, but I won't. Because I don't quite frankly think they're worth it. But seeing them on Facebook, seeing them on Twitter, in the last few hours, where they think it's a joke. They think it's a joke that a man was nearly gunned down in public. And if you don't care about Donald Trump, fine. But what about the people in the audience? They have families in those audiences. They have children in those audiences. They were at risk by this lunatic. And if you support that, and you think it's a shame the guy missed, well then, just fuck off. Just fuck off. I'm sorry to be so crude, but, at the end of the day, you shouldn't have to worry for your life or the safety of other people just for expressing an opinion. But anyway, I'm nearly running out of time here, and I haven't really necessarily got all the points out that I wanted to get out. But look, the point is that I'm not saying it was a conspiracy. I'm not saying that Hillary Clinton was necessarily behind this, but it does make you think, doesn't it? It does make you think that the FBI investigation reopens, the media are focusing on nothing else but Hillary Clinton and the emails and the reopening of the investigation. And now they're talking about Donald Trump nearly killed, assassination attempt made on Donald Trump's life. Whether it will make a difference to the end result, I do not know. I don't think it will, because I think from what I'm seeing, the feedback that I'm getting from the Trump campaign, from people that I know, is it's made them stronger. It's making them stronger. Anyway, we'll find out on Tuesday. And it will either be President Trump or it will be President Clinton. But one thing I can promise you, folks, this is not over. Not by a long chalk. Whatever happens on Tuesday, someone is going to be happy and someone is going to be very, very unhappy. You've been listening to the Paul Clark podcast. Like, share, give me your feedback on this, and I will speak to you again very, very soon. Take care of yourself, and I'll see you again soon on the Paul Clark podcast.